on Friday, but there's lessons and losses when it comes to claims. And that's what we're going to dive into today, brother.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
What?
Get out of here.
Took Jeff by a second.
One second.
1 second.
Morning, y'all. Look at you guys.
Morning, Ryan. Jeez, 1 second on the ball.
Dan, I gotta give you props.
Lisa's road tripping too.
I gotta give you props. That intro, like you snapped from. We were talking, guys. We were backstage. We are talking about something. I said 9 o'clock. Boom! He hit the trigger, and then he goes like into this mode, and he just spit that out. It was amazing. Good job.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. Well, some days I sit there and I stick my foot in my mouth with a little bit of salt and I chew on it for a bit. And other days I just have it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, man. Yesterday, brother, I was dragging my arse like a madman. All day.
I was too.
All day. I was like,
dreading the phone call I had. So,
brother, I was convincing myself that I had energy more than anything yesterday. Like, it was crazy how much I was talking to myself. My little conversations were going nuts yesterday. Just, come on, Dan, you can do this. Come on, wake up, man. You can do this. And then we actually, well, you guys will see it in a couple of minutes, but we actually, I created a video yesterday, and it's funny because the video, I'm like, oh yeah, now I got energy. I'm skyrocketing for the video, and it's for our new segment that we do every day. And for y'all that were here yesterday, we got a pretty good one for you today from our main master of the data, Dean. But we're going to be doing the lane of the day from from this point forward every day. So, but today, brother, it's not wins and lessons; it's lessons and losses. That's oh gosh, I mean, you go first because I have 100,000 different stories.
So I will say, I hate for anybody who has dealt with a claim. I hate to start this with me. That's why I'm upset you're having me start first because I've been blessed and lucky. I've never actually had a claim. I was close quite a few times, but I've never actually had a claim. And I'll tell you though, the closest story I had was it was all my fault. Craziest thing about it, I won't give the trucking company. What's crazy though, the trucking company was listed right down the street from my office. What are the odds of that? And it was a house, not
those odds are pretty good actually.
Not a building. It was a house, not a building. So I actually went to the house though. I'm like, all right, where's the truck? Where's the truck? So yeah. It
is more common than you would believe. I mean, so up in Ontario, right? So, yeah, I mean, and I guess it would be like this everywhere. I'm a little bit unknown. Knock on wood, DJ Richard says, yeah. Yes. I'm a little unknown, but property values are so expensive by the main arteries where most trucking companies are. Like up on Highway 9 on your way into Barrie from where I live. There's probably 5 houses where the people have, 10, 15, 20 acres of land, and they literally throw gravel down, and there's like 50, 60 trucks parked in this guy's property, right? It's all over the place. And I mean, listen, from an operating cost perspective, it saves a huge amount of money. Yeah. But yeah, I've had.
Well, I will tell you though. So the reason is it was not actually a trucking company or trucks there. It was total sham. Wasn't even a real. They didn't have their own trucks. They didn't even have their own trucks.
Oh, okay. So they get an address, they get an MC, and they pretend. Yeah. So they're brokering your freight out when you think they're a trucking company, and they're acting like funny story. So
yes,
when I was at Transcend Freight Systems in Mississauga, John was one of our main ops guys, and John gets a carrier because carriers do business with other carriers, right? And John gets a carrier. It says, hey, listen, I got some freight from here to here. Can you guys grab it? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. So he says, send over your package to set you up. So the guy sends over the package. It's our MC number. He's using our MC, our certificate of the MC, and they've like whited it out and typed their name. So John's entering them into the system. You want to talk about a small world. This is a company from the US. John's entering them into the system, and he types their MC, and he stops halfway through, He goes, Dan, can you come here for a second? I walk up behind him. He goes, what's this MC? I look at it, I go, that's our MC. He goes, okay, I thought I was going friggin' nuts here. So this company was actually using our MC number to get set up. So if anyone didn't check safer stat or anything like that, it would just automatically go through, right?
My goodness.
And I was like, what are the chances? Like, really, what are the chances?
What are the chances? Yeah.
I know. So I hear what you're saying. So you're saying you've never had a claim in your career. That is probably the first I've ever heard of that.
Yes.
No claim,
I was close. So with this order, I was at the point of having to get the police involved. That my claims department was telling me I was going to have to get and then finally
your truck went AWOL.
It was gone. It was gone for weeks. Okay. It was just gone for weeks.
What was the end result?
Basically what I told you, it was some sham company just double brokering loads, and they're just obviously brokering either to people they know or I don't know what the end story was.
No, but I mean, it ended up did the product end up showing?
It ended up down there. And worst case, I just lost the customer. That was it. So.
But that's a big case. See, this is the one thing when it comes to claims, as a broker.
Yeah.
You can only do so much because it's the carrier's insurance company and all this. Like if you have negligence insurance at your broker, it's your insurance, but you only have so much pull, or you're only able to do so much.
Yeah.
And so the fate of your customer is almost in somebody else's hands, right? But I mean, I think, when it comes to being a broker,
scary, let me tell you.
Yeah, but being a broker, you're consistently putting your reputation on somebody else's shoulders, right? That's just the nature of brokerage. But claims can be some of the most disturbing.
Yes.
Consuming, I guess, is a better word. Some of the most consuming time spent. Like I've had some claims. Like so when we first got into Dell Computer, just kind of arbitrarily going in. Same company. I used one company all the time. We got robbed. Like driver went into a truck stop. This was before they wanted Teams. Driver went into a truck stop, came out, his truck was gone with a full truckload of computers. And it's funny because we talked about this on Memorial Day. So for all of you watching, listening that didn't see the Memorial Day show, it was all about like, how do you determine margins on a load?
Yes.
How do you determine margins for a customer?
Yeah, go back to that show if you missed it too.
Yeah, if you haven't. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. We dove into some pretty serious stuff. And part of that is, and this is what, in the first company I ever worked for in logistics, this is what the corporate lawyer sat down with me when we started moving computers. And he said, like, listen, you need to understand something. If there's a claim and we have to go to court because we are signing the contract with Dell, we then have to sign a subsidiary contract with our suppliers to make sure we're meeting the demands of the customer. But if anything goes wrong, we got to go to court. And he goes, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, which these court cases could pan out. So he goes, you go in at $150, $200 profit. He goes, it's never going to happen. So like we were, full disclosure, we were up around $500, $600, $700 profit per load because he says you need to make that profit because you have one claim in 2 years. It could wipe out your entire 3 years of profit, just the one claim. So you need a higher margin. And we lost a load before I left that brokerage and went to the asset side. And that claim was almost a year and a half before it got settled. Right. Yeah. So Dell actually was like, screw you, broker. We're not working with you anymore. Because again, the contract's with the brokerage company. It's not with the carrier for the customer. Right. Yeah. And it was interesting because the second time we had a claim with Dell, it was to the point where the criminals painted a truck to look like ours, somehow got 20, 30 minutes ahead of a team that was already coming in.
No.
So we had we had full security guards in our yard. Holy cow. Security guard in our yard.
This was during the hype of Dell, wasn't it? When
during Dell's big hype. So our security guard looks out the window and he sees the black truck with our logo on, like our logo and everything. Like we're talking, some effort went into this. And he looks down, he goes, oh, the team, they must be 30 minutes early. So he hits opens the gate. he comes walking out of the door and gets hit with the butt end of a shotgun, gets thrown down the stairs. The guy jumps from the top stair, busts his femur. And so now our security guard's sitting there like knocked out, broken femur. They tie him up, and then they continue. They start going through the yard, and they keep cutting trailers in the yard until they find. And it's funny. So they found a truckload of Xboxes. They pinned up to that truck, like dropped the fake trailer, pinned up to the truck, and took off. And it's funny because the trailer next to it was about $1.5 million in iPhones. So but again, I guess the phone maybe would be, they never even cut that trailer open. They just kind of cut until they got to it. And they took off. And here's the interesting part. So here's the interesting part. I just happened to be up in a town called Port Loring. I was on vacation that week. I was the only person in the company on vacation that week. And I kept my cell phone kept ringing, and like throughout the night, it was ringing. And you know, when you're on vacation, it's like, WTF, man, I'm on vacation, leave me alone. So I didn't answer anyone. And then the next day I got back from quadding in the evening, and I had like 43 missed calls. So now, and it was from one of the owners, and the owner was a good friend of mine. So now I'm thinking something's wrong, like something's totally wrong. So I call him, he's like, dude, you have to get back now. I go, why? He goes, because we were robbed and you're the only person out of town. And I'm like, no way. So I'm and of course I've seen too many movies at this point. I'm driving back thinking,
speaking
I'm
of
going
movies,
to jail.
Yeah, you look like an accomplice.
Well, yeah, it's like really, like, I've seen way too many.
I've seen way too many movies too. Oh shit, I'm getting back. Look, I'm here. I'm taking pictures.
Brother, Port Loring is like 5.5 hours from Toronto. I think I got there in 3. I was like, no. And I walked in, and I'm like, and the police, and like, there's like 10 cops at the facility. There's detectives. There's cargo cats. So there's a law enforcement division called Cargo Cats in Miami, and they had a Canadian
division.
division.
Have some good stories.
Oh, brother. I sat there and I was interrogated for like 6 hours. Like, I honestly, and you know how they say when you're interrogated, sometimes like people will say like all of a sudden they admit something. It's like I'm telling you, it is one of the most screwed up things you will ever have happen to you if you're interrogated in a manner like that. Because it was like, in the end, I started thinking, did I do this? Like, was I part of this?
Where were you hiding the skiers to get away?
Yeah, you second guess everything. It was crazy.
I see Ryan's comment is hilarious. Yeah,
Ryan said, I'm in the same too. No claims from my end. One of the reasons why I stay away from reefer freight. Laugh out, yeah, for sure. Laugh out loud. Story feels like a Fast and Furious storyline. Brother, I'm telling you, man. Except I would be on the truck when the truck hits another truck, and I'd be able to jump across the highway 5 lanes and land in another truck because I'm like Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, Dom. All right, Dom.
Yeah. Read your transportation agreements in regards to indemnification. LTL consolidation per occurrence wording. Be careful. LTL is one thing. Truckload is another. 100%. I mean,
yeah. Great.
Listen,
great point.
100%. And there's also a point when it comes to claims where it's because we get complacent, right? So for me, it's been the complacency.
I could tell a story about that too. It wasn't with me, but a crazy story with that.
Yeah, Ryan says with a Corona in your hand, 100%, buddy. Yeah. Zero alcohol,
non-alcoholic Corona.
Yeah, for sure. So I had a it was probably more around the $375,000-$400,000 claim for a cleanup in pharmaceuticals. Wow. So we were moving consistent pharmaceuticals twice a week from California to Kentucky. And they were chemical components for Viagra. And so, like, for all of you in pharmaceutical, you'll know this, but chemical components come from all over. They go to the manufacturer, they get assembled into this product, you know. And so it was about 5 pallets. It was probably worth about close to $1 million. And I was using one carrier because I'm big on dedication. And this carrier pulled in. They opened up the doors. The reefer was preconditioned. We're good to go. They looked in. They gave a visual look. Everything was clean. They put the pallets in. They closed the doors. The truck goes to Kentucky. They open the door in Kentucky, and it smells like a dead body. So I get a call at like 2 a.m. my phone, and this is when I used to keep my phone beside my bed. My phone's ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
And I pick it up and I go, hello. And it's just, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, what the hell? And the customer is screaming at me. And I'm like, and you know, good or bad, I'm like, settle down, hold on a second. Goes, what did you just say to me? And I'm like, okay, hold on, what's like, I'm totally asleep, right? I'm like,
yeah, what is going on? Like, let me at least understand where I'm at right now.
And he goes, you're making me look like an idiot. And I'm like, okay, whoa. So I come into the office and I'm like, okay, settle down, Hugo. What is going on? And he starts explaining to me what happens. He goes, we opened it up this morning and it's just typically like a 1:30 in the morning because it goes straight. Team drivers going straight. As soon as you arrive, they unload it, they put it into quarantine. They wait for the reefer printout, the in-transit printout to make sure the temperature variant was there and all. So it was like very scheduled, very structured. And he goes, they open it up, it smelled like a dead body. So they quarantined the trailer and the truck in the yard, but we've got a bigger problem. And I said, what's that? He said, they realized it's blood in the actual in the ribs of the reefer. So I get a hold of the company, and they were moving pig parts in like kind of gaylords, and all we can figure is the forklift clipped one of the bags or one of the corners, and it just leaked. But because the forklift was going in and out, on top of the ribs was still like the aluminum, it was still shiny. So a few things. One, the driver didn't inspect the trailer as well as he should have. The shipper didn't inspect the trailer as well as he should have. The driver got complacent. I didn't know what they were delivering. So it wasn't like I would say, okay, go get it acid washed or go wash it out regardless. Let's do an extra $200 just to make sure. So
guys, what Dan's talking about there, make sure that you're for special items like that, if you're shipping, if any of your clients are special like that, you got to make sure what they delivered before that, because if they deliver, or, you know, if they picked up some
100%. And stay compliant with the rules. Don't get complacent even when you have dedication, because all of us got complacent. We've been doing it for like 6-8 months. We've always been on time. We've always had clean trailers. We stopped asking the questions. We stopped talking to the drivers. Like it happens in business, right? We get busy. We set something up. We're like, it's bulletproof, and we move on. So what I realized though was the impact on the shipper's end. So what they did is they ended up pulling it off, quarantining the product. The product was still good because it sat on top and it was on skids. Where the big cleanup was on the shipper end, because it's a non-contaminant environment. So it was actually close to $250,000. They had to actually review for the past 3 days everywhere this forklift went, because they think it rolled on blood and now it's contaminating everywhere it's going. Oh yeah, they had to shut the plant down. They had to clean it. It was crazy. But you know what? In the end, the way it was handled, and it was, I couldn't do anything because most pharmaceutical shippers, probably all of them, are actually self-insured. I could barely do anything. Nobody would really talk to me, but I was feeding my customer information about twice a day. I kept the customer in the end, because the customer was like, okay, listen, it was a screw up. What have you put into place? So we put in fail safes into place, new things into place to always deal with these, always speak to these drivers. And it worked. Like we were golden. In the end, we were like, I still deal with the customer today. So I was good with them. A little bit of more follow-up and very structured for the first probably 6 months after that. And then it was like, okay, every week send me a report instead of every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I have many stories about claims that would blow your mind, from intermodal to truckload to an inside job. Fast and Furious is nothing compared to these. Really, as much as people think Fast and Furious is so make-believe, there's a whole lot of other.
There's a whole lot of that goes on. I've heard some crazy stories. Again, I was not part of any, but I heard a lot of crazy stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about corrugated onions and corrugated packaging. Talk about issues. You're screwed. Lisa says, anyone had a driver make a wrong turn across the Mexican border with 22,000 pounds of ammo?
Oops. What was it? What happened?
Can't say I've been there. I can say
what happened in that. You got to tell us what was the end result of that.
Yeah, you got to.
Because actually, my truck that went missing was going down to going down to Nogales, which was basically one warehouse going to another warehouse in Mexico is what they were doing. But yeah,
Nice. So I was dealing with North American Van Lines, and I got a call from Jim Brown, great guy at North American Van Lines. He says, "Can you help move the King Tut exhibit?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I could for sure do that." He goes, "It's like some miscellaneous artifacts and stuff." And there was a part of the exhibit is a replica mummy, right? In the replica casket.
oh yeah,
And so I sent in a bunch of trucks, and the one truck, it had to go in a reefer because it had to be climatized and all this kind of stuff. And the one guy in the reefer pulls up to the dock, and it's like, the conversation with operations was like, we're not really sure what's going to go in it, but it's the King Tut exhibit, so it could be different artifacts. Most of the stuff travels via armored car, like, because it's you know what I mean, all that.
Yeah, very.
But it's kind of the miscellaneous pieces and stuff that they don't necessarily want to do that, and it's part of the whole network that North American Van Line set up. And so they send a driver in. So the driver happens to come around the corner as they're loading this coffin on his truck. Does he lose his mind? He's like, "There's not a chance I am driving anywhere with a dead person in the vehicle." And he just went nuts. Like, he called me. He's like, no, Cargo, not happening. He goes, "I am not driving with dead person in the truck." He goes, "I've seen way too many movies about, hands coming out from the back and grabbing me and sucking me in and everything." And I'm like, "Dude, those are movies." He's like, "You don't understand. They're real." He goes, "You ever swim in the ocean and you're looking for sharks?" He goes, "How many people actually get attacked by sharks compared to how many people swim in the ocean? But you saw Jaws. Sharks do attack." And I'm like,
okay, he watches too many movies.
Yeah. So Lisa
Look
says,
at this.
"Driver detained, truck detained, ammo gone." Wow. A driver put in Mexican prison for 7 months. There's got to be more to that story.
Yeah, there's more to that story.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I just, you got to put that up again, because anyone have a driver make a wrong turn and cross a Mexican border with 22,000 pounds of ammo?
I think we need to change lessons and losses to that. Make the tag that.
Yeah, like
that'll
that
scare the
is
crap out of everybody.
Crazy.
That is
crazy. All right, so are y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for what we got coming? Here we go. Yeah. This is a new presentation on Sales Chatter. I like that.
I love
That's
that.
super cool.
It's Back to the Future. It's Back to the Future.
Yes. That's where data takes us, right? Back and forth.
That's right.
So today's lane of the day, powered by DAT. Flatbed Houston to Fort Worth is our number one flatbed lane. Imports into Houston are up 1% month-over-month and 24% year-over-year. Spot rates hit a new 12-month high and now are $1.10 a mile, excluding fuel, higher year-over-year in that market. So if you're in the Houston flatbed market, pay attention to this. It is gone up 1% month-over-month, 24% year-over-year, and is now up higher than $1.10 a mile, excluding fuel, year-over-year. That's the DAT lane of the day. Wow. That was fun. I can't wait to do this every day. You guys want to see that again?
I like that.
Do that again.
That was good.
Yeah, I can watch that. I can watch that all day long.
That is good. Thank you, Dean, for obviously giving us that, and for Dat for letting us.
Richard, Dan Spielberg again. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I got one coming out for Centurion too over the next couple of days, so hopefully I'll have it by tomorrow for y'all. I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to claims, brother, I'm sure everyone watching and listening, I'd love to hear some of the stories that Jeff has for claims, because I can imagine. Actually, you know what? So here's the thing. If there's any shippers watching or listening, right? And Jeff, you can answer on their behalf, on shippers' behalf as well. As a broker, what are some of the things you look for when there's a claim for your broker to stand out of the crowd? It's frustrating. Like, claims are some of the most frustrating times ever. I remember we had a truck going down a BC highway. Okay, 110 slabs. It was about 90,000 pounds. 110 slabs of quartz, and the back A-frame disintegrated on the highway. So this guy's, and so it disintegrated. I mean, they're strapped, right? But they're on, so they ship on A-frames.
Yeah.
And these A-frames were wood. And the driver's like, I don't know if that would, and the guy's like, the shipper's like, yeah, it's all good. Now, again, in the end, it's driver's responsibility, but he's trying to, not piss off the shipper and everything like that. So he's going down the highway, and his A-frame disintegrates on the back, and it was 20 slabs, 10 each side. So 20 slabs at, 1,100 pounds a piece, come rolling off the back of this guy's trailer and start hitting the highway and like shattering. Like, you want to talk Fast and Furious. I mean,
oh my gosh.
So
yeah, that's
a
scene from Bad Boys.
So even worse. Okay. Here's the scene. I get a text from my customer saying, "Is this my slabs?" And I look, and it's an Instagram video of a guy going, "Dude, look at this." And you see the A-frame shaking, and all of a sudden it goes whoosh, and he goes, "Holy shit." And like, the car's swerving, the dude's like filming, and it's like just like in the movies when they're throwing stuff out of the back of trucks and cars.
Oh, you got to share that video.
I wish I still had it, brother. I wish I still had it.
Oh my goodness.
But you know what? I'll actually ask my customer if he still has it somewhere on his phone. But he's like, "Is this my stuff?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I call the carrier, and I'm like, then he goes, "Yeah, dude, it is crazy what just happened." I'm like, "Oh my God." So I text him, like, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "Are you kidding me? Like, it's on Instagram." Crazy. But imagine being behind that truck.
Oh, that's Final Destination. That's I think of that movie every time I'm near a truck with logs on it. Like, oh, I hope that flatbed driver really strapped those down good.
Oh man, it's just, I mean, there's been some crazy stuff. It's insane, but those are probably some of the most remarkable ones that I can think of. I mean, you have the usual shows up to a show and it's just completely broken. Like, I've had that before, where I've booked show freight in, and the show freight has shown up and it's like broken, and literally I'm there with a crew of 3 or 4 people reassembling the show booth because you can't hire a team fast enough. Oh yeah, there's been those moments as well. There's been some interesting times, to say the least, brother. Interesting times, to say the least. Crazy.
I will tell you. So the best scheming one that guys just be careful of, and I've always been careful. I guess this is probably why I didn't have a claim. I was scared to death of hearing of all the claims, and I got to hear of one firsthand from the guy I was working with. But long story short, he had regular freight. I mean, he was, it was a handful of loads a day, so he was used to just his LCs or logistics coordinators just pumping these out to certain carriers. Well, he ended up getting this carrier that found out he had a bunch of them. What this carrier did, he did the first few, and then he started double brokering them, but he was paying more, and they were getting delivered. He didn't find out until the back end that the carriers that that they were brokering them to, they were never paying. So didn't find out till months later, and his claim was huge. Took about a year to pay off. It was crazy. So yeah, be careful,
brother. It's a real thing, and if you look at some of the stuff that's been stolen over the last 2 years, like truckloads of wood, huge money, never used to be money. Like all of this stuff, it all matters.
Well, especially today, now that everything is just so damn much. I mean,
like it's you typically, you look at it and you say, okay, if you're running, computers or electronics or, TV, like anything like that, it's like, yeah, of course there's some security involved, some of it for sure. When it branches out into others, like when I was dealing with one of probably the largest quartz company in the world, they had containers stolen, slabs of quartz stolen.
Jeez.
And the people that stole them had the equipment to unload them, had the equipment to ship them. like, none of this is tagged like computers are with serial numbers and that kind of stuff, right? Like
This is
there's a
just
lot of security that goes into the back of computers and phones and that kind of stuff. Maybe not TVs and stuff, but as everything gets connected online, serial numbers and stuff can be identified, MSI numbers, MSP, all these things in the background, IMAC numbers, like all these things in the background could be identified. But products can't, right? And I remember getting called from my customer saying, "Hey, we had 3 containers stolen out of our yard last night." And I'm like, "Really?" And like they're in containers on chassis trailers. So like you have to break through the gate, hook up, and go.
Yeah.
And they found the 3 of them, and I met my customer with the cops after they raided the place, because I had to investigate to come send trucks in to get them. And they had like 2.5 containers offloaded, and the containers and the trailers parked like 20 blocks away, just on a street somewhere. And it's like it's a crazy network, and it's crazy because where we found them, it was at
if all the work that they did to do the stuff illegally, if they just did that, put that much effort into doing the right thing. I mean, come on,
brother. I've always said, if the amount of energy and effort that goes into being a criminal, if you put it into
you'd probably make more money and feel better about yourself.
100%, man. 100%. So we've got Richard. Does that lane haul mummies? Nice.
Well, it depends.
Ontario luxury cars are getting stolen left and right out of their driveways. Yeah, Maggie. Oh, all the time. It's insane. Like, we have OPP come around our neighborhood, and we're in the country. Up until 2 years ago, like, people up here barely even locked their front doors.
Wow.
Like, for when I first moved here, I don't think my car keys ever came out of my car. They just sat in my cup holder when my car was at home. Like, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. But luxury cars are huge because, I mean, you have the chip shortage, right?
So the money, and the chips, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. How about a pickup going down the open road in Nevada, hooking into an ICC bar with no lights on it, infrared glasses, and offloading a trailer of CPG. So you mean that they were on their way down, and then they hooked onto the ICA bar and started offloading the trailer on the highway? Is that what you mean, Jeff?
I think that's what he means. He's saying
and he says I have glasses. More. So that's a Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's Fast and Furious shit right there. Where was Dom?
yeah, he's probably controlling it. But all right, DJ, what do we got? You said one of the first things you said to me this morning when we started before we went live was, "Oh, I got a quote and I don't care, it's gonna go." Did we meet that standard, brother?
Well, we'll see. I like it anyways. But again, thank you for it. Jeff, you tell us real quick while I'm finishing this. Was that like they were unloading on? Oh yeah, you said yes. Holy cow, that's crazy.
That is cool. Maggie says the cars are on a ship within an hour of them being stolen, gone, stripped, and never seen again. 100%. Bingo. It's huge business.
It is a business, unfortunately. All right. Well, hey, that was a crazy show. That was fun, good. Actually. I like hearing the stories too. Hey, thank you everybody for joining us as you do daily. American Logistics, Centurion Trucking, thank you for making this possible. As always, Daman, the man, reach out to those guys over there if you're in Canada and you're looking for a new home. Again, thank you to everybody for joining us weekly, daily. Start your day right with us, 9 a.m. till 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Sales Chatter Live. Don't miss it. What were you going to say?
9:30-ish.
9:30-ish. Sorry. And tomorrow, don't miss it. Dean, I think we're going to have a great conversation. Triple D Day. We're talking ships, I'm sure, and there's a lot of things going on with that. So don't miss it, guys. Great info to bring to your clients. To my sales Yoda, Dan Deigan, this is a quote from Yoda. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
Say that again. Sorry, brother.
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. Ooh, right.
To the HPLS podcast. live, relevant, and high performance information,